Garima, shall we make you absolutely comfortable starting from your home, that is Sonipat?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So,
Yes.
can you bring everything that you know about Sonipat on board, but in a structured manner, in the sense some history part of it?
Yes, sir. So historically, Sonipat was known as Swanprasth. It was one of the 5 villages that was demanded by Pandavas in lieu of Hastinapur. Sir, it's
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
sir.
Very well said.
Yes. So then Sonipat, it's also known as the land of Vedas. That some Vedas were written here, and then geographically, I can say that Sonipat is one of the 22 districts of Haryana. It is located in the northeast, southeast part of Haryana towards Delhi. Um, so economically, Sonipat is the largest producer of mushroom, both in Haryana as well as in the Sonipat, as well as India. Um, so, and
Okay.
so socially,
Yeah. Please go ahead. You're doing very well. Yeah.
and so Sonipat is also known as the capital of Indian capital of kabaddi players.
Okay. Now, having said this, uh, I would like your specific inputs on the following. One, of course, it's just a way of bringing to you a platform on which you can give a elaborate reply, so that we notice if there is any delivery, uh, shortfall or whatever shortcoming. So, okay, now which are the other four places that the Pandavas had sought from Duryodhan in lieu of Hastinapur?
Yes, sir. So it is Panprasth, which is Panipat, Tilpat, then sir Bhagpat, and sir fourth is Indraprasth.
Yeah, so they wanted Delhi itself.
Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah, very well done. I must say, I must compliment you on the. So now another question: which can you name some personalities of Sonipat in any field that you wish, but who have made names for themselves?
Yes, sir. Sir, the Narwals, they have made Sonipat famous as a kabaddi capital. Mr. Sonu Narwal, Pardeep Narwal. So then Miss Sonam Malik, she is representing India at Tokyo Olympics in wrestling field. So then there is Miss Neha Goyal, who is also representing Sonipat and India at Tokyo Olympics. So Miss India, Manushi Chillar, she had studied in Sonipat. Sir, the wrestler Mr. Yogeshwar Dutt, he also belongs to Sonipat.
Okay, Garima, if I don't stop you, there are so many names from Panipat that we that we go on. But yes, we are all proud of the achievements. Okay, now, Garima, you put in your ECA, that is the hobbies, you said terrace gardening. So, what are the components of terrace gardening? What are the root strengthening measures, for instance? How costly is it? How expensive is this compared to the normal gardening? Can you elaborate on these points?
Yes, sir. So regarding the cost, so it depends on the person who is whose hobby terrace gardening is. So, for example, I have almost 65 pots. So, sir,
Oh, all
sorry, sir.
bonsais or no different?
Oh no, sir. I do not have any bonsai. They are different pots. Some of plants, some of vegetables, some of flowering plants, some of succulents. So, sir, it depends on the person as to how much a person wants to spend. So the second question about the components of terrace gardening. So, is it if I could clarify, is the question as to what is needed to do terrace gardening? So actually, I did not understand the.
To a layman, see, it is a passion with you. So you can give as many points as, but just bulleting them. Okay.
Yes, sir. So for terrace gardening, one needs a waterproof terrace so that water does not seep down. Second is sometimes there is a menace of monkeys. So a meshed terrace could also be a good suggestion if one wants to grow fruits and vegetables. So then pots are required. Plastic is preferable because they are easy to shift from one place to another. Then supply of water. So if one wants to grow flowering plants, then a terrace is a good option because in indoors pollination is a little difficult. And so then there are some gardening tools that are needed, like pruners, then trawlers, then the khurpi. I'm not able to remember the English word for it.
Doesn't matter.
So adequate supply of water is needed. Manure is needed. If a person is doing it organically, then they have certain organic options. Otherwise, chemicals are also available. And so soil is needed. So that's answer. Most important is the seeds which one wants to grow.
You read about them while doing the gardening, or it's now come with experience? How do you, I mean, what time, what date of the month, what time of the month, what time of the year? How do you do it?
So initially, I started because there were already some pots which my mother had planted. But after having been involved in gardening for the past 2 years, I follow certain YouTube channels which suggest as to what plants could be grown in what particular season. So then recently I went to a shop, a seed shops near my house, and I asked the shopkeeper which fruits or which plants according to him should be grown in the climate of Haryana, because online resources are available, but Haryana specific information is sometimes not available. So and sir, even experience has also helped me go for certain fruits and vegetables.
Okay, Garima, why have you made some changes in your options for services? For instance, some states you've given as number one, I mean, higher option in the IAS than in the IPS and vice versa. Why is it so?
Yes, sir. So I had taken guidance from a senior civil servant who is presently posted in UP, and he told me and he suggested me that for certain that in certain states, IAS Indian Administrative Service is a preferred option, and in certain states, it's the police which plays a major role. So, sir,
Did he give a reason for it?
So he told from his personal experience and the kind of interaction he had with his batchmates and colleagues.
Okay.
Sir, I did not ask
it's
too
okay.
much.
No,
Yes.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's your preference. Now I have seen that you've given ITS, Indian Trade Service, option at number 8, and Indian Information Service option at number 9. They are pretty high, assignments of services. Why? What have you learned about these services?
Sir, the said civil servant, he suggested that these are the services which are going to become very relevant in the coming times because of increasing interaction of India with other nations and because of digitization. So that was the reason I chose. I put that. Sorry.
And what about Indian Company Law Service?
Sir, regarding that service, uncle told me that since private sector's involvement is increasing day by day, and there is a possibility that uh, contracts will be there, and that there'll be higher opportunities for growth in the in this service.
But with private sector, if you are so, enchanted towards the private sector, then you should have taken a job in a private company. No? Why come to the government to seek a private sector closeness?
So the reason as to why I put Indian company service as among the top preferences, because the interaction between government and private sector is going to increase. It was not.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, my last question to you.
Yes.
Which is the ministry which controls the or administers the Companies Law relating to the, ICLS. That will be a cadre controlled by that ministry. So, which is that ministry?
So I'm sorry, I'm not aware of it, sir.
Thank you, sir. Chairman, sir, आप please take over करें. I thought that we can make up with some time. हमने शुरू
नहीं
कर दिया
नहीं
था.
वो असल में I was clicking on the wrong link.
Oh,
Garima, I'm
अच्छा
sorry.
आप 3:30 ये.
Garima, I'm sorry I missed the earlier part of your interview and I missed your introduction. What is your optional subject in the UPSC?
Sir, it's political science and international relations.
Okay, can you talk about the interplay between political science and international relations?
Yes, sir. Sir, in political science, we read about theories like liberty, equality, democracy, human rights, and so these theories, they play an important role in how international relations are conducted. So, for example, yes, sir. Sorry.
Go ahead, please go ahead.
So, for example, democracy. So democracy could be seen as a unifying factor among certain nations while they interact with their international counterparts. And so Quad could be said to be one example of that. Similarly, human rights, the value of human rights, unites countries, and they try to talk about the principle of human rights. It unifies countries, and they come together to call out a nation which is violating the fundamental human rights of its citizens. So that's how we can see the interplay.
Do you think the human rights are honored in a country like United States of America?
Sir, it is said that the United States provides, it is considered to be an individual's dream city where an individual enjoys a lot of rights, especially the right to express and freedom of speech. But sir, at the same time, there have been allegations that United States, it violates the rights of other citizens, especially when it invaded Iraq in Guantanamo Bay. Certain news articles have come where the rights of the terrorists or alleged terrorists have been violated.
Why go outside of US? Even within US, the rights of the black people are frequently violated. You must have heard of Mr. Floyd, a black citizen being strangulated to death by a white policeman, which led to a certain movement. What was that movement called? I asked you, what is the name of the movement?
It was Black Lives Matter.
Black?
Hello?
Sorry, go ahead.
So it was Black Lives Matter. So
yeah, there's some...
am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So it was Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. That means the whites in America go to the extent of killing blacks and, leave alone violating their human rights. There in the southern part of America, there was a certain right-wing organization which regularly attacked blacks. Do you know the name of that organization?
Sorry, sir. I'm not aware of it, sir.
Ku Klux Klan. Have you heard of Ku Klux Klan?
Yes, sir. I have heard of it, sir, but I do not know much about it, sir.
Tell me, have you read about the Civil War in America?
Sir, a little bit, but not much, sir.
What was the central issue over which the Civil War was fought?
Sir, I'm not aware of it. So I think it was related to slavery, but I'm really sorry, sir. I'll have to brush up my concepts.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you should know the history of the Civil War in America. You can note it
Yes,
down. You should not forget.
yes, sir.
I mean, questions
Yes.
can be put to you about that. And you're very right that US, when it comes to attacking Iraq or any other country, it forgets all about human rights of the local people there. There is a saying in international relations that ideology is a fig leaf in international relations. Have you heard of this?
No, sir.
But can you tell me what it means, what it tries to imply?
So maybe that ideology is used by nations to achieve their national interest, but when they themselves have to implement them on themselves, so maybe it's about hypocrisy, but I'm really not sure.
Yeah, what you said about principles of democracy or human rights, etc., binding international relations or binding countries across the globe, it is a fig leaf because the ultimate interest is self-interest.
Yes,
That is
sir.
what matters. In the name of democracy, in the name of human rights, a lot of wrongs are committed in international relations. Okay, now let us turn to Afghanistan. What is the present situation obtaining in Afghanistan?
So presently, 95% withdrawal of US troops has taken place. And so it's being said that Taliban has taken control over more than 85% of the Afghan territories. And so recently, there was a news that the Afghan ambassador of Pakistan, his daughter was tortured uh, at the behest of because of what's happening in Afghanistan, and so the countries even recently Turkey also Turkish President Mr. Recep Erdogan, he also said that we should not allow Taliban to take control over Afghanistan, and he also offered to protect the Kabul International Airport, and so this is what has been happening there.
Who are the Taliban?
So the Taliban, it's a terrorist group, which is said that it was during the Soviet invasion in the 1980s, that it was bred by one of the superpowers.
By whom? Which superpower?
Sir, sir, I think it was the United States which tried to breed these groups so as to to control USSR.
Okay. Now, tell us about the changing dynamics of the relationship between India and China.
Yes, sir. So the dynamics between India and China have been changing. There has been confrontation due to certain aspects because of Chinese aggression on Indian borders. Second is China has been wooing India's neighbors, especially recently China promised, or China was given the contract to build the port city in Sri Lanka. So at the same time, Indian Prime Minister wishing the Dalai Lama, it also became a reason of friction. And so the fourth issue that I can think of is India's closeness with the United States, and India's increased participation through groupings like Quad is being seen as another area of confrontation. At the same time, China's support to Pakistan is another issue where India and China are facing challenges.
What is at the root of India-China discord?
So one reason could be that China is trying to become the next superpower or one of the next superpowers, and it's trying to assert its dominance uh, through through its aggression on India. And China also says that India has taken control over its territories. So even border disputes could be said to be one of the reasons for discord between India and China.
The line which demarcates India and China, what is that line called?
Sir, it's McMahon line and also LAC, line of action control.
Who was McMahon?
So he was a British officer who was given the task of demarcating the border between India and Tibet.
Okay. Now tell me, who demarcated the border between India and Bangladesh, which was earlier called East Pakistan?
Sir, Mr. Radcliffe.
Wonderful. Arvindji?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So, good afternoon, Garima.
Good afternoon, sir.
You did this integrated course, I believe, from BITS.
No, sir. Actually, it's 2 different degrees.
It's because you have mentioned them simultaneously in one.
Yes, sir. So that was a mistake which I realized after
So
seeing
I
it.
was also thinking, what's the relationship between this pharmacy and information system?
So there is no relationship.
There is no relationship. That's what I was thinking, how they are coming under one group only.
Yeah.
Anyway, now having done this B Pharma, how is it that you went for this MIS? Because you did MIS requires certain amount of background in computers,
Yes, sir.
which you did not have at that time.
Yes, sir.
So why did you choose that?
Sorry, sir. Yes, sir. So actually, I did not do it after completing pharmacy. I was doing both pharmacy as well as information systems simultaneously. So
Okay.
answer the most of the courses that I was taught at in information systems, they were similar to computer science. So I did not need to have a background in computer science. And so the reason as to why I did it was because computer science or knowledge in information systems provides a good employment opportunity. At that time, I felt that having knowledge of information systems would provide me with better employment opportunities.
Good. But now, since you're going for this IES,
Yes, sir.
I think as a civil servant, you will have ample opportunity for using your knowledge of information systems.
Yes.
But how do you plan to use pharmacy?
Yes, sir. So my study of pharmacy, it has not just given me theoretical knowledge, but also practical skills. So theoretically, I understand that the kind of challenges that pharmaceutical industries face in India, and if given some responsibility where I could be involved in certain policy making, I would like to tweak or bring certain changes in those policies which could facilitate Indian pharmaceutical industry. And so practically, I have learned the skills. Pharmacy has taught me the importance of patience and perseverance. Since drug development takes 10 to 15 years, so it has taught me not to expect magical results. And so this skill or this knowledge will help me deal with certain social evils which which are long term, which require long term measures, so as not to get frustrated if I do not see any results in short time. And so the course of dispensing pharmacy, it taught me that while a drug may not benefit everyone, it should not harm anyone. So, sir, this teaching I am going to apply while implementing the projects and schemes of the government. That any initiative, yes.
Okay, you said that dispensing pharmacy taught you that
Yes, sir.
it may or may not benefit, but it should not harm.
Yes, sir.
But are you aware of any government scheme which is designed like this, that it
Sir,
harms somebody? Normally, we don't do that.
yes, sir. So, but so sometimes this intention of these schemes, they are to benefit the beneficiaries. But sir, the unintended impact could be they could maybe harm someone. So, one example that comes to my mind is of Ujjwala scheme. Although it is to benefit women and to prevent them from to prevent to ensure that their health is not compromised due to traditional traditional fuel sources, but sir, at the same time it also perpetuates the belief that household or kitchen work is the domain of the woman. So sir, that is the unintended cause of this scheme.
You have heard something about Cobra effect,
No sir, I'm sorry,
that you
sir.
make a law, but people game it to do something else.
No sir.
Okay, you read about that. What you were saying
Yes.
was something related to that.
Yes sir.
Okay. Now, India is known now as a pharmacy of the world.
Yes sir.
And our pharma companies, particularly after this pandemic, they have wonderful work. So, don't you think that as a pharmacy person, you would have benefited or served the people much more than you would be doing as a civil servant?
So I feel that I would have thrived in the pharmaceutical sector. But sir, I also feel that since I'm more passionate about civil services, I could contribute more as a civil servant.
When did this passion come?
Sir, actually, it was in 6th standard when I heard of a civil servant or what the job entails. But sir, actually, it was in my 3rd year at BITS Pilani when the idea really got strengthened. So it was Mr. Vinay Pratap Singh. He's a BITS alumnus. He's currently serving as Municipal Commissioner of Gurgaon. He had come and he described his experience as civil servant, and he described civil services as a canvas, which a civil servant could paint in whatsoever color they want if given an opportunity. And so that was the day I decided that I have to paint this canvas.
Okay.
And so
It's okay. Now,
yes.
coming to your knowledge of information systems.
Yes.
So, what are the characteristics of a good management information system?
Yes. So the characteristics, they are confidentiality, that the database is not compromised or it's not infected by any cyber attacks. The second is the integrity of the system, that it's not harmed. So third is, sir, I know the mnemonic, but I'm not able to recall the other 3 components.
Consistency.
Yes, sir, CAIN. Yes, sir.
But what you said is something in general about information systems. What I asked you was particularly about management information systems. They differ slightly.
Okay, sir.
Anyway.
I'll check it out.
Okay. Now coming to your subject of international relations. Now, would you tell me something about our relationship with our neighbors?
Yes, sir. So India tries to follow the policy of neighborhood first, especially after 2014. We have been focusing and we have been emphasizing on improving our relations with our neighbors. Sir, even after the 2019 general elections, our neighbors of Sri Lanka and Maldives, they were the first first countries which the Prime Minister chose as his first visits. Sir, at the same time, we have expedited our infrastructure projects in these countries. And sir, we also try to use soft power, especially of our cultural relations, to enhance and improve relations with countries like Bhutan, Nepal.
Now, coming to Nepal, we have very deep cultural relations. Even we say roti beti ka rishta hai.
Yes.
But still, we have a lot many differences, and Nepal is slowly moving towards China. So, where lies the problem?
So there are certain reasons. So one is that the political compulsions of Nepal. So sir, when the politicians, they want to win elections, they try to use India card and to deviate attention from their inefficiencies. So one is that. The second is, since China is much more economically advanced than India, so India can't compete with China's checkbook diplomacy. And the promise of infrastructure projects or better roads, railways, it woos or it attracts Nepal towards India. Sorry, sir, China. And sir, at the same time, the third reason is that sometimes India is not able to deliver what it promises. So, sir, that also causes certain reasons why Nepal gets pushed towards China.
Now, you said something like politicians, they tend to use India card.
Yes.
Now, such a thing can happen only if the public in general of that country is against India. So, do you mean to say the public in general does not like India, and that is why they are able to use this India card?
Uh,
With the way it is, Nepalese nationals can easily come to India. I think they cannot go to China as easily as they can come to India.
yes. So I feel that people-to-people contact between Indians and Nepalis, it's really amazing. But sir, when there is continuous bashing of India from the politicians and the biased role sometimes played by media houses, so then it creates certain resentment among Nepalis. But in general, the relations are very good.
Okay. And what about other neighbors like Bangladesh? Again, we had very good relations, but there are problems.
So one is, it's very natural if when two people interact or two countries interact, there could be certain areas where both might not be able to come to a consensus. So one is that. So second is, there are certain areas where we have not been able to reach an agreement, and maybe Tista River water sharing agreement is one of those reasons. So second is, sometimes the illegal migration from Bangladesh becomes a bone of contention, and the certain comments made by some politicians that also impact the relations between India and Bangladesh.
Now, coming to that question of migrants,
Yes.
a whole huge lot of people from Bangladesh came to India during that 71 war when Bangladesh was carved out. And a large number of them, they did not go back. They're still in India. And their
Yes.
children are also in India now. Now, after 50 years, is it practical to think that we can send them back to Bangladesh now?
So I feel that it is very difficult to send them back because first is we can't identify as to who those people are. So second is that there is a problem that Bangladesh might not be willing to accept those people. And so third is that even if we are able to identify, they could find certain loopholes which through which they can use to stay in India. So sir, it is a little difficult to send them back.
So why don't we reconcile to this situation rather than every time saying that we will send them back to Bangladesh?
So the idealist position would be to reconcile and prevent further illegal migrations. Maybe we can strengthen our border infrastructure so that we could prevent future migrations into India. But sir, at the same time, we have to be mindful that people who are outside, who do not belong to India, they put pressure on India's limited resources, and the job opportunities that they take away. There might be certain resentment because they might be taking job opportunities from Indians. So sir, we also have to ensure that we keep harping the point that India will not accept any illegal migration.
What are your views on CA?
So my view is that that India giving citizenship to persecuted minorities from three nations of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. It conforms to the ethos of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. But sir, at the same time, this impression comes out that by giving citizenship to certain communities, India might be discriminating against one particular community. So, sir, that concern is also there.
Okay. But what is your view?
So,
If you are,
I
if you are asked to take a stand.
Sir, I feel that the anti-CA protests, they were not needed, because this has taken some political color, and since we were giving citizenship to people who had come to India before 2014, and it is the prerogative of the government to give citizenship to anyone who it wants to give based on certain criteria, so that it could have gone ahead with it.
Fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So your interview is over. Now we'll start with the feedback.
Yes.
Very much. Let me first begin with assess your passion for the terrace gardening. See, the purpose of a mock also is not to solicit your test your knowledge, which has already been conducted, which already been done through civil prelims and your main exam. It was to see how, the manner of delivery and the content part of it. So you appear to be quite comfortable answering the question with the same passion that I expected. Number one. Now you must also do some readings on the communications. That I couldn't put you the communication, how Sonipat is linked to for instance, I think we have the Western Peripheral Expressway, the Eastern Peripheral. It is situated on National Highway 44. So everything about Sonipat, which it may come out in some form or the other while answering a question on Sonipat. Then, see the. On pharmacy, one question that I thought I should bring to your notice is the internet shutdowns in J&K did impact the medicines. It was widely reported in the press. So just have the data on this. Education and medicines were two sectors that were deeply impacted by the internet shutdown. That is what the courts also observed while stating that the internet is a fundamental right. Okay. Then, lastly, on your ICLS, yes. See, ICLS is a service, since you put it at number 7, so everything connected, and it's it's not unusual, but very rarely I have found somebody putting it at number 7. It's a very fine service. But things that you have to say about the service is, number one, it is an organized group A service. It is an organized group A central service, number one. Its cadre controlling authority is the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. They are called the CCA, Cadre Controlling Authorities. And so it has various components of our organized service. It has a cadre review by committees, I think headed by the CABSEC. So every 10 years, the cadre of the service is reviewed. Number 3. Number 4, it is, as part of the MCA, you are expected to know quite a bit about the Companies Act, which the MCA administers. The Companies Act originally was 1956, and which had one very unique feature, that it must have at least two persons to form a company, which was done away with by later 2019. The 2013 Companies Act replaced the entire 1956 Act and brought about a very peculiar, I mean, a very unique sort of wording, saying that even a single person can form a company and will be governed by the provisions of the Companies Act. On the then 2013 also brought about two important features. It brought the NCLT, the National Company Law Tribunal, and National Company Law Appellate Tribunal, to look into the quasi-judicial functions. So any person aggrieved by an order of the MCA in the light of the Companies Act can approach the NCLT. Okay, then 2019, again there was a proposal to amend further the rules of the Companies Act. Some amendments were proposed. Most important of this one is that the CSR rules, the corporate social responsibility rules, some tweaking is being done in that. Especially, I mean, specifically, I just mentioned this, specifically that a company which has failed to provide for the CSR, to discharge their CSR responsibilities 3 years continuously, that fund will go to that amount will go to a fund with the central government. So they will not be able to utilize that for a CSR. Then also about the MCA, just read on the TOBR, that is the Transaction of Business Rules, on the website of the Cabinet Secretariat and the DOPT. Okay, and two answers. Of course, Arvind Mohan Saab will say more on that, but two things that I observed while you were answering. One was on the neighbors, our relationship with the neighbors. I think you should have also brought in the diaspora. They play a very important role, significant role in shaping the country's policy and friendly neighborhood relations. Number two, the chairman sir will have a final word on what I'm going to say now. You mentioned the name of one Mr. Singh, who is the municipal commissioner of Gurgaon.
Yes.
He's a serving officer. So whether at all you should mention the name of an officer who has given you some guidance in, I don't know, Chairman sir will say the final thing on this, but I just thought that maybe a serving officer's name should not be stated before the vote. That's about all. Otherwise, you did very well. Over to you, Arvind Mohan Saab.
So, Garima, it was a very good performance by you, and your answers reflected your knowledge also. So that was very good, and you answered calmly, coolly, without getting ruffled. So that's a good sign. And one thing once I noticed while replying to Chairman Saab, you said something like McMahon line and LSE, as if they are synonymous.
So they are LAC is just in the JNK portion.
No, they are different.
I'll clarify it.
There is a difference. And McMahon line is the historic line. China does not recognize that.
Yes, sir.
So it is something different from LSE. The way you answered when you see the video, the way you answered, you tended to suggest that they are one and the same thing.
I'll clarify it, sir.
Which is not the
Yes,
case.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'll check
So
it.
that I just, because it might have been just a slip of tongue maybe.
No,
but
sir.
when
Actually, I'm a bit confused. I will check, sir.
Yes. Now, it is different. But in your actual interview, this should not happen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have to take care of these small things when you're giving your actual interview, that you should not be expressing something which you do not intend to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that part you have to take care. And regarding the relationship with neighbors, so when a question like this is asked to you, now you have to quickly cover all the neighbors that we have.
Yes, sir.
But you remain confined to Nepal. Then I somehow brought in Bangladesh. But you had to cover very quickly all the neighbors that we have, including Pakistan, China, Iran. They are all neighbors.
Yes, sir.
Right? So we had to bring into account all these neighbors. in a very short manner.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when a question is asked to you, what you should do is you have to understand before you start answering what the interviewer is expecting from you in the answer. And because you cannot be giving very long answers, you have to make it concise and include whatever can be done in bullet points. Now, a bullet point in this case would have been mentioning countries one by one.
Yes, sir.
If the board member asks you to elaborate on a particular point, you can.
Yes.
But otherwise, what might happen is that you may miss out very important points which you wanted to cover, but because your answer became very long, those points could not come.
Yes, sir.
Okay, take care of these things, and Chairman Sir will now give his views.
Yeah, Garima, so what did you think of your performance?
So I need to brush up certain concepts. I have not revised them for long, so I'll start doing it again, sir.
When is your interview?
Sir, it's on 17th September.
Oh, there's a lot of time. There's a lot of time, so you can prepare.
Yes, sir.
And since political science and international relations is your optional subject, you can expect a lot of questions on international relations. So, for instance, your replies on Afghanistan, Indo-China relations, they lack depth. You know vaguely what it is, but you do not know it in great detail. You
Yes,
need
sir.
to study far more. What is the Taliban? What is its genesis? And how Russia invaded Afghanistan, why it invaded Afghanistan, how Pakistan got involved, how CIA got involved. So it has a history, and we cannot, in a blanket sort of way, say Taliban is a terrorist group.
Okay.
Tomorrow there may be a situation that Taliban may be ruling Afghanistan, and we may have to establish diplomatic relations with them. God forbid. So, you must know about Taliban in a little more depth. Similarly, about China, why the root cause, what is the root cause, and where India stands, what China's ambitions are, long-term ambitions, and how India figures in them, etc., etc. It will require a little more reading, and there are some nice videos on these subjects which you should also see besides reading. But you must read. It is all the material is very readily available on the net. You can easily read them up and form your views on the subject. Otherwise, on the whole, I would rate you as an extremely good candidate. Today's performance was also very good. It was not that you were caught totally clueless on any subject. Your dress, what are you planning to wear on the final day?
Sir, kurta and chudidar and Banarasi dupatta.
Okay, that is all right, but we advise the lady candidates to wear a sari.
Yes, sir.
If you are comfortable carrying a sari, then we would advise you.
Actually, I'm not.
Okay, but you can practice from now to September, and you will be fine. But there is no hard and fast rule. But you will notice that 99% of the women candidates, they wear a sari, and it gives a good formal appearance. Normally in Indian society, on formal occasions, ladies wear saris, right? So we would, from our side, our advice would be that preferably you should wear a sari, okay?
Yes,
and of course, of a sober shade, either a cotton or a handloom sari, it should be fine. And in the intervening time period, you can easily get used to it.
Yes, sir.
After all, you are an Indian, you're not an European that you will take time to get used to a sari, right? So, and then you are going to be in the civil service. On many occasions, you will have to wear a sari.
Yes.
Whenever there is a formal occasion, you'll be expected to wear a sari. So it is only in the fitness of things that you wear a sari to the
Yes, sir.
interview. Okay. And have you taken other mock interviews also?
Yes, sir. At some institutes, sir.
Okay. So they have told you, briefed you about how to enter the interview room and how to sit down and all that?
So actually, I've yet to take any offline session. I'll be doing it in August. So as of now, I've just taken online ones.
No, but that rehearsal can also be done online. I will briefly tell you just in a minute.
Yes, sir.
Is the what we advise is that you knock softly on the door and say,
sir.
"May I come in?" Open the door and say, "May I come in?" Okay. They will
Yes,
say,
yes.
"Yes, come in." So you enter the room, softly close the door behind you. You walk up to the interview board, the table where they're sitting, stand behind the chair and wish the board, right? If the
Yes, sir.
chairperson is a male, you say, "Good morning, sir," or "Good morning, good afternoon, sir," and then wish the other people. But even if you have just wished the chairperson, it is good enough. In the bargain, you have wished everybody else as well. If the chairperson is a lady, obviously you have to say, "Good afternoon, madam," or "Good morning, madam," whatever the time of the
Yes.
day it is, okay? But most importantly, you should wait to be seated. What most candidates do is that they go and they take it for granted that they can sit down. So wait for the chairperson to tell you that, "Garima, please sit down." Then you sit down, okay?
Yes, sir.
So this is the drill. And as and when there is an offline interview, of course, you can practice this. So
Yes.
that is about all. We wish you all the best and do well
Thank you,
and
sir.
come out with
Sir,
flying
could
colors.
I?
Yes.
Sorry, sir. Could I ask you something? Sir said that whether I should mention
Yeah. Very,
serving.
very important. No, you should not. You should say that I
Okay,
had
sir.
an interaction with a civil servant
Senior civil servant.
and or a civil servant came to my institute or my academy and he introduced us and I found. If they ask you who that civil servant was, then you can tell the name. But you should not give the name by yourself. Okay? Right? Have
Yes,
I
sir.
made anything?
And sir,
Yes.
yes, sir. Sir, one more question. So my interview date, it coincides with the birthday of Mr. Narendra Modi. So, sir, what should I prepare questions on? So that is something which I'm a little confused about.
You can be rest assured that nobody will ask you questions on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. 99.9%. But if they do know, like any Indian citizen, we should know the basic things about our Prime Minister.
Yes, sir.
It is easily available in public domain. There is you don't have to get into any controversies. And if you are saying anything, you don't say anything which sounds political. He is our
Yes, sir.
Prime Minister. That's the end of the matter. Okay. And you very well know that whenever a tricky question pertaining to government policy is raised, if at all you take a position, it should be pro-government because
Yes,
you are
sir.
going to be a part of the government. So you have to, for instance, we all have our views on demonetization.
Yes, sir.
But if we are asked any questions, we have to take a pro-demonetization stand.
Yes.
Similarly, we can have our views on CAA, but we have to defend the government. We have to take, and if there is an argument, your stance should be balanced. You should not seem to be overly, complying with the government regulations or whatever. but it should be balanced and in favor of the government's policy, right?
Yes, sir.
Anything
Yes,
else?
No, sir.
We wish you all the best. और कुछ
Thank
रह गया अरविंद जी?
Unmute. Arvind ji, unmute कीजिए.
Sorry. Recently in Hindu Business Line, there was an article, demonetization was a success.
Okay, sir.
Just
Very
go through that. It was a very
Yes.
good article.
Yes.
And
Yes, sir.
secondly, when you're answering the questions, because in this offline interview, it's not possible. In online, you have actually to, when you are there physically, you have to keep the whole board engaged.
Yes, sir.
So when the question is being asked, your attention is on the person who is asking the question, because you have to listen to the question very carefully. But when you are answering, you have to give a fleeting glance to all the board members,
Yes.
so that they all feel involved in your answer.
Yes.
So don't think that if they are writing something, they are reading something, they are not there they are listening to you all the time. So when you are looking at them, they will be giving more attention to you, and you have to keep them involved in the answer.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Best.
Best, Garima. All the best. Do well.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.